Hello, this is Null Inquisitor, and today I'm going to not review but answer Tim's 13 question. So let's start. Question 1: Can you please describe in detail any negative situations that came about in your life because you played RPGs? Negative situation that. None. Question 2: What skills do you think you have personally improved upon by playing RPGs? Probably knowledge about history, the real world, science, a bit of engineering, memory for sure, just to track all the storylines, and writing skills also. Um, Storytelling would be another skill, but it's not really. It's a maybe it's a combination of skills and like public speaking, maybe a little bit. I remember when I became a teacher, the first several not lecture but course I gave. Of course, the first few minutes I was like having stress, but after that it went like a game session. So it was like a nice practice uh, when I was a teacher. So it helped me teach people not only games when I game with players, but also real skills. Question 3: Who introduced you to RPGs, and what was your first experience like playing them? I teach myself RPGs. I've talked it in some other videos. I bought my first contact with RPGs was with the Hero Quest board game, but after that I bought myself the Marvel superheroes basic sets and read the game, learned it, and then went, oh, this is easy, and just I was already drawing comic books for myself, so I was already big into the storytelling and comic books and characters and creating characters. I was making all these stories for myself and my friends and doing little comic strips. So when I bought the game, it was like a new media to tell stories. So I just teach myself the game and just I ran the first game myself. So discovering other people that were game mastering was an experience, and seeing them run the game was also a clash of culture, but not so much. Um, so I strongly believe that people learning RPGs far away, distant, even culturally distant, can share uh, a common ground in playing a game. Yeah. Number 4: What was your first experience like running a game? It's the same answer. It went pretty good. Actually, I wrote my first adventure. I remember the title. It was called The Empire of the Eight Rays. It was in French, but basically there was a satellite in orbit and a supervillain like Doctor Doom, or I don't remember the specifics. I think I even still have that module somewhere in my room, um, and it went pretty good. And we started a campaign after that, and we started to make characters. It was pretty a good experience. I felt hooked already in the first time I did it. Number 5, what was it like designing your own system? I'm I'm pretty big on generic games, so I'm always designing something somewhere. Uh, Designing a game from the ground up, I did it uh, possibly 3 times, but surely 2 times. First game was called Dice, just DICE, and the second one is more recent. It's called Dreamborn. Um, I stumbled during a walk. I just stumbled upon an idea, and it was, in fact, I dreamt about this game, and upon awakening, I just quickly wrote what I saw in my dream. And on the days after that, I tried to manifest or make it make it like a tangible thing. And I ran some. I'm not I'm not very good at math, but I ran some numbers and crunched some stats, and the system was sound. And I started to. I have a friend who is a game designer, and I talked with him about this mechanic and this game, and he told me like, yeah, I would play that. So currently, I have like 2 settings I could uh, run with this idea, with this mechanic. I call it Dreamborn just because it came out of a dream, but it's really simple. It's 2d10, and yeah, I'm gonna keep the secrets about this game. Um, Number 6, what was it like making your own setting? I build my own stuff all the time, so it's always good. For me. There's a thrill for me to learn games, but there is also a thrill to build settings and stories. So it's all the same for me. Number 7, why do you think tabletop RPGs are not known about by a good many people in the public? I think they are rising in popularity, but there will always be this aspect to role playing games that is intimate. It's an activity between friends, small group, um, and over time, a culture installed itself in the group in the form of insights, memories of things that happen. So when a newcomer to the game, or just a, a standing by person, could be lost just by hearing the group and not understanding anything. So there's an aspect to that. Try to imagine people playing a weird game like the kabaddi, this strange Indian or Pakistani or Asian sport. It's like wrestling, but it's like tag at the same time, and players have to hold their breath and do. It's really a weird game. Do a search on YouTube on kabaddi, kabaddi. It's a weird ass, and it's an old game. It's a very very old game. People still play it, and I read the rules, the official rules from, and I could not make out what the game is still by reading their rules. It's insane. So imagine stumbling upon a group playing that game and not understanding it. It's like that with RPG. So you're not attracted to things that are weird and not explained, and not. So over time, I think the games will be more known, but there's also this aspect of intimacy There's an intimacy with the group. Some find it very easy to play in a public space. I don't. And in my culture here, it's not in the culture here in French speaking province in Canada. People are playing in their home. They're not playing in restaurant or library. They just don't. It's an intimate thing. So that may be an aspect to it. Number 8. What is an RPG and why are these types of game fun? Why is hockey fun? Why is football fun? Why is it building a rocket and go to space fun? Why RPGs are fun? Fundamentally because there is several things to do with a game. Problem solving, seeing a world, a fictitious world through the eyes of a fictitious person. There's an acting challenge, there's a statistic challenge, strategic challenge. It's a whole bag of fun, and you know it, Tim. Question 9. If you were going to teach a new player how to play RPGs, how would you go about doing that? Simple. I would make sure to be alone with this player, especially if the player have no clue about it, and I would just explain the game, drinking a coffee, and just be relaxed about it and answering the question of this person. And next step would be to invite the person to an actual game, maybe as a spectator, but I would not hesitate to involve the person right away, because it's not, I would make it easy on this person. And it's not supposed to be something cryptic. You know, you're not supposed to learn or study a big book of rules and then create a character on your own. It's not like that. The group is supposed to help newcomers, and so I would just go about that like that. Just invite the person, talk to the person in private, explain, answer all questions, make a character together, and run maybe a small demo of combat and a scene, and just and when this person, when you see that person got it, you can invite that person. And I would not use probably a typical game. I've introduced a lot of people to RPGs via GURPS, and it's not the obvious choice, but I make it easy on the player. It's just 3 dice, roll your dice, count them. Is it under or equal to your stat? Yes, you succeed. That's it. Number 10. What age group do you think play these games more than other group? I have no clue. No clue. When I was in my 20s, I would have said my 20s. When I was in my 30s, I would have said my 30s. And now I'm in my 40s, I would say, hey, in 40s, of course. But then I don't have any stats. So I don't know what the purpose of this question is, but age does not matter very much. If you like the activity, you like it, and you do it. Question 11. What overall benefits do you think a person that plays RPG has that perhaps a non-gamer would have, or would have less of? Overall benefits. Okay, if you take 2 geeky, nerdy person, and one person is just playing video games, and board games and maybe competitive game. And I know a lot of video games are cooperative, but if we take two gigs, two gigs, and one is a role player and one is not, I believe the role player would have maybe stronger relationships and friendships over the isolationist, um, because RPGs are social activity. Otherwise, video games are very good at problem solving. I know I work in the field, and the video gamers are unto themselves very good at solving problems and being mentally active and more than we think. So the benefits of being around the table, far from devices and technology, and just playing with persons, yeah, that benefits would have to be social in a sense. Question 12, almost done. Hold on. Have you ever seen an RPG session break out in any violence? Have you ever seen with your own eyes people becoming more violent after they play RPG? No. That notion is insane to me. I've seen people getting excited, and not always in a positive way, like I would say engage in the game, but as soon as the game stopped, people return to their normal state. So I believe it was more a roleplay effort and not real emotion per se. No, I've never seen a punch thrown because you killed my character, you son of a. No. I play with well-adjusted people, you know. If I sense that a person would do that at a table, I will not invite him again, and not and as soon as I will detect this. So no, I never seen any violence. I've seen plenty in violence in the game, but not outside the game. And last question, 13. Do you think RPGs are still seen as much of a negative thing as they once were? We didn't had the satanic craze in Canada. We didn't have. People just don't know what it is, Dungeons and Dragons. They just don't know here what it is. And as soon as these kind of understand that it's a geeky activity, they just turn their heads away and just it's not for them. So they don't care. They're not really caring about this. So it's not a negative thing. It's just uninteresting for them, or not important, or not exciting. Like that's a nerd stuff, and people. And it's not negative. It's just not interesting for them. So those are my answers. Thank you, Tim, for the list, and see you soon.